Here from the ITA Tennis Hall of Fame, I'm Houston Gaines with Coach Dan Magill. Coach, your resume is about 20 pages long, so let's go ahead and get started, all right?
Better hurry up then.
You were a true Bulldog from day one. You were a bat boy for the baseball team, and you managed the tennis courts early on. Which experiences in your pre-college years were your favorites and why?
Well, I've had so many happy days here growing up in Athens. Ever since I was bat boy of the baseball team in 1931 and going to see the first game in Sanford Stadium when I was 8 years old as a boy, and well, I've just had nothing but happy a life. I've been very lucky to grow up on the University of Georgia campus and see so many things, so many great coaches and so many great athletes.
Right.
I've been lucky.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, great. Now then, you attended the University of Georgia after growing up here in Athens, and you received your bachelor in journalism and competed on a varsity level in athletics here at the university as well. What were some of your favorite memories at the university while attending college?
Well, I was on the swimming team and the tennis team, and the swimming pool then was in Memorial Hall, and it was 18 2/3 yards long. We had to swim it 6 laps to make 100 yards. And the tennis team then played on red clay courts in front of LeConte Hall, where the journalism psychology setup is now. We had 6 red clay courts, 3 on top and 3 on the bottom. And I played on the team, and then later managed the courts. In fact, I managed the courts in the summertime while I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
I'd ride my bicycle down from the 5 Points area in the morning and water them, and then had to drag them and roll them. Had to roll them and line them off with wet lime. And started the Crackerland tournament then. I would run the city tournament, and there used to be a tournament called the Northeast Georgia tournament. This was in summertime. And I wanted to start a tournament that sounded bigger than Northeast Georgia, that would attract people from all of my father, who was editor of the Athens Banner Herald, said, call it the Crackerland. And it became a very successful tournament and lasted a long time.
All right. Now then, after finishing here at the university, you enlisted in the Marines.
I joined the United States Marine Corps the day after Pearl Harbor. We were playing touch football in front of the Chi Phi Fraternity House on December the 7th, 1941, when a boy, it was right after lunch, and a boy burst out of the front door. He says, "We're at war. The Japs have bombed Pearl Harbor." We all said, "Where's Pearl Harbor?" And it was just 7 o'clock at that time, but it was 5 hours different, at least 5 hours difference, maybe 6. And I joined the Marine Corps the next morning. I took the bus to Macon and joined the Marine Corps, and the officer in charge says, "You're the private of the Marine Corps now, but we're going to need a lot of platoon leaders, and we want college graduates to have the first chance rather than 18-year-old boys. And you'll have first, you got to graduate at college, and you got to graduate on time."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I graduated on time and took a bus to Augusta, and then another bus to Yamashee. I think I took a train to Yamashee, South Carolina, and got out, and that was not far from Parris Island, South Carolina. And they met us there in a covered wagon, a truck with covered canvas. I think they did that where we wouldn't know how to get in and out and escape from Parris Island. A lot of times we felt like escape. We went through boot camp there and then to Quantico, Virginia, and got my commission.
What effects did your experience in the Marines have on your
Well,
life?
the Marine Corps was the best training I ever had. They really teach you discipline and hard work and never make a mistake. And the Marines are the most conceited people in the world, you know. They teach you, say, you're the greatest, nobody can beat you. And that's the way we like to feel.
All right, now then, how did you meet your wife, Rosemary?
Well, I was lucky. In college, I used to sit on the steps. All we boys used to sit on the chapel steps there on the main avenue from the arch up to campus and watch the pretty girls walk by. And that's when I first saw her walk by. And I checked out and found out who she was, and she was a Kappa Alpha Theta. She was two-time president of Kappa Alpha Theta sorority, which is still on Village Avenue.
That's awesome.
That's how I met her. I was lucky.
That's awesome.
She was unlucky.
All right, now then, following your 4 years of service, you began writing for the AJC before moving back to Athens. Once coming back, you began as sports information director. Not long after taking the job, you went all over Georgia and set up Bulldog clubs.
Yeah, that was I'm glad I don't have to do it now with all the traffic problems.
Right.
But in those days, in the early 50s, we had started losing to Georgia Tech. They were beating us regular. That was Bobby Dodd's heyday in the early 50s. And we didn't draw but 10 or 15,000 fans because we were losing.
Right.
And I told Coach Buss one time on the bus coming back from the game, sitting by him, and I said, our strength is that we have with the majority party of alumni. We have more alumni in every county in the state, including Atlanta, more alumni than Tech. I said, we ought to form Georgia Bulldog clubs in every county in the state, and organize them and ask them to have us raise money and win the recruiting battles. And George Kidd Woodruff and Judge Frank Foley were the big Georgia leaders in those days, and they bought me a red and black station wagon. And it took me 3 summers to do it. I only did it in the summertime because didn't have time had too many duties at the university. But in the summer, I'm the only one, according to Pierre Howard, Jr., who was later Lieutenant Governor. He said that he was pretty certain I was the only person in the history of the state of Georgia who ever made a speech in all 159 counties. I'd have a meeting in a small town for breakfast, a bigger town at lunch, and then the biggest city at the night. Mm-hmm. And then all of those little adjoining counties to the big city would become a member of the Macon, Bibb County Club. Those surrounded Macon, and Muskogee County around Columbus, Chatham County around Savannah, and so forth.